All right. Well, thank you so much, Hanane. And I first would like to thank everybody for joining in, and a big thanks to Moore team and Skills for Skills team for doing such an amazing work and globally impacting everybody in their skills and their future workforce.
Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, Hanane, can
Yeah,
you? I wanted to share my
yeah, you can
screen.
share. Yes, exactly. Are you able to share your screen by now?
No, you will have to stop
By
your screen.
now?
Yeah, all right, all right. Okay.
Now? No. No?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
cool.
All right. Before
Um,
I share my screen, good evening to everybody out here. Well, I am Ritika Madan, and I thank Moore team and Skills for Skills team for doing such amazing work and giving us this opportunity to share my wisdom and knowledge with everybody out here. Before I start my workshop, a big thanks for all of you to joining in, and I hope I will be able to at least make you understand a lot of learning strategies today, which I have learned all through my years. And now I would be sharing my screen with you. All right. So, well, the topic for today is active learning and learning strategies. It's quite an interesting topic for me, I think, because learning is something that we all do, all the time. I mean, right now also we are going to learn and unlearn a lot of stuff. And a bit about me. Yes, Hanane has well introduced me. She's mentioned about my work, and I am a person with a lot of juggling and a lot of work doing all around India and world. I have been conducting conferences. I'm presently I'm a TEDx curator. I am also a strategy consultant with women dominated startups in India. And I'm on board with all this entrepreneurial ecosystem that is very active in India, and I'm working with startups. I'm working with Startup India. I'm also a professor of marketing and communication. So, to keep it short, I am doing a lot of things that help me learn every minute, every day, and the as the days are passing, I am feeling like that this COVID pandemic has been very positive for me since I've got chance to learn and upgrade myself all this time while I've been home and do amazing projects and share my wisdom and knowledge with everybody. Okay, to start with something interesting, I would want you to share your answers on this. How many dots do you see on the screen right now? I can have the answers in, okay, a lot. Okay, 4, it's moving. 9, 12, 12. Okay, 11, a lot. Okay, every time I blink, I see. Okay, lovely. Well, what an interactive audience. Yes.
yes.
13. Okay, wherever I look, I find dots. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, outstanding. I see so many responses, and I would say majority. Okay, 59 dots. Oh, wow. Okay, lovely. What an enthusiastic audience I have today, and I must compliment everybody. Yes, we are seeing black dots, and most of you are correct. Well, there are 12 dots in this grid, which is outstanding. I mean, initially when I did this kind of an illusionary thing, I could just see one or two or maximum three, black dots. So this is an illusionary test which actually shows that my audience is extremely active and on the screen. Lovely. So moving on to the, yes, now I see 12. Yes, it's an illusionary workshop. So there are 12 black dots at the intersections in this image. And as a part of our brain exercise, we will not be able to see all at one time. So yes, now since I've mentioned it, you would be able to see it also. So what do we learn out of this? Well, we say that, as you focus on one dot in particular, you'll see many of the other dots fading away into the intersecting lines. And at the max, leaving to my excellent audience, an average person can see only up to four dots at one time. So the experts say that this illusion represents an example of the limits of our vision. How our brain compensates for what we cannot see. And this is normally called a Herman grid. I'm sure a lot of you can Google about it. And most of you, since you've answered it well, maybe you knew about it also. So while picking up this thing, how our brain compensates for what we cannot see, similarly, our brain operates for what we learn and what we do not learn. There is no limitation to learning. It's all around, it's everywhere. From the moment you start your day to the moment you end your day, every minute is a learning process. Every minute, every person we interact with gives us some kind of learning. And when you talk about learning strategies, yes, I would be sharing about things that we've been doing in the past and things that we are doing right now and how they are changing our lives. I would be sharing my stories on how I have learned and unlearned all these my years as I have grown and become part of so many organizations. So when you talk about active learning, as you can see that active learning engages students technically in learning using activities such as reading, writing, discussion, or problem solving, which promotes analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of class content. So allow me to be your teacher and think yourself as students today who would be learning and synthesizing and discussing problem solving techniques, and we shall be having quite an interactive session today, and let's see how much we can absorb from each other. So right there on the screen you see a couple of things that I've shared, which are Q&A techniques, in-class demonstrations, 1 minute paper, think, pair, share, short cases, scenarios, discussions, and brainstorming. Well, these are learning strategies that have been going for years and decades and have been, applied in various pedagogical skills, have been used by a lot of corporates, have been used by a lot of organizations to help their employees, to help their students, to help people actively learn and interact with each other. So whether you talk about Q&A techniques, which we are practicing right now live, where you post a question, I answer you, so we are virtually learning with each other. Then in class demonstrations, which I shall be giving you right away as my slide moves further. 1 minute paper, yes, that is used by a lot of organizations to give you a chance and help you brainstorm ideas. Think, pair, share, a very very active idea since decades, applied by a lot of organizations where everybody is teamed up as pairs, and they help you to brainstorm and as people whom you do not know each other and help you share the ideas. Then short cases and scenarios, in a case that we discuss a lot of cases of brands, of organizations, of people, of products and services, and we see that what all problems they went through and how could we not repeat those problems when we have to apply similar things or we have to face similar things in our life. So we do that. And yes, discussions happen everywhere. Now, these are average things that we've been doing since so many decades. But now, slowly and steadily, the way dynamics have changed. Now, if you wonder, we are in 2020. 10 years back, we could not imagine the world that we are staying in. 10 years back, 2010, we did not know, how the world had changed with the coming of Facebook. I think if people know that, I have seen, how the things have transformed from Orkut to Facebook. Initially, Facebook was all about, playing that formula, adding friends, wishing them happy birthdays, a way just to connect with your people who are away from you. And now, 2020, Facebook has a different face. It is making us learn. It is a workplace. It has a business model called Instagram. It is managing WhatsApp. It has got everything. It is hosting workshops. It is, into data mining. I mean, there is endless things that Facebook alone has done, capturing the world, helping us in advertising, helping us in cross posting, helping us in marketing. You would not imagine how the world has changed. I mean, Citibank, a leading bank in India, took 21 years to have, 1 lakh or 2 lakh followers. Whereas in TikTok, it just took 5 years to have 1 million followers. See the strength, see the, capacity of how the brands are, moving. The world is moving very fast, and similar way, we also have to move our learning and unlearning process very fast. So, as we move ahead, let me talk about something called VUCA. I'm sure all of you must be knowing about it, and if you don't, I'll tell you. VUCA is an acronym which means being volatile, having uncertainty, having complexity, and having ambiguity. This is quite a buzzword when it comes to present management scenario where the learning and unlearning process, begins up. So it has been this kind of VUCA situation is what we are going through right now. There is huge amount of change happening all around us. There is complete lack of unpredictability, I would say. But yes, predictability to a sense where our future holds. There is a lot of issues and chaos happening all around the world, not just in one country. And yes, reality is very hazy. We just do not know how the things are going to operate. So, as there is no predictability or a way to plan for every issue or plan that may arise, it actually becomes very necessary to plan for any issue that may arise. I hope you get that. So the VUCA world, what does it do? It calls for innovative business, strategies and processes that can be used to cope up in any given situation. Now let me tell you here a brief about VUCA. VUCA basically originated in the US military in 1990s and is a way of assessing and providing for the changeability of general situations and events. Giving you a simpler form, volatility here refers to the ease and speed in which a situation can change. Uncertainty refers to the lack of knowledge or awareness that surrounds unforeseen events. Complexity is the web of chaos surrounding an event or organization. And ambiguity refers to the potential for confusion and misunderstanding within that organization. So, as you would have understood the simple meaning of VUCA, this term was quickly adapted to be used in business environments and organizations. And now it stands as a strategy for coping with unavoidable changes and events that may arise. So, a good example was the pandemic that we had, and how the entire this unforeseen natural event disrupted the air travel, disrupted our education. It stranded passengers. It is costing huge amount of millions to the air travel industry, and technically, there is no way to stop it, to prevent it from happening. Businesses just had to deal with the fallout and suffer everything from mild, setbacks to massive losses. So this is the kind of world that we are, moving in, where where cause and effect is becoming increasingly irrelevant, and it is necessary that we actually make it necessary for the workers to think in new ways and explore new solutions. So that is what we are doing today, that we are going to explore new ways of learning and explore new solutions, so that this VUCA world, which might seem very scary and very unpredictable, for all of us, it should be treated as an opportunity to innovation, learning, change, and yes, to interact constantly with each other. That is what VUCA world, is all about. So, in times of this profound change, how the learners, they have to inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. That's a very, very beautiful quote that I actually think makes a lot of sense when we are dealing with our daily, issues, and we are still in that learning process all through the day. And it is an ever going process. So when we talk about real learning, I'm sure all of you would agree that real learning is an inside out process. It starts with something internal desire to know something, do something, and change something. Our learning is actually a driving seat where we are controlling what we are learning. And it actually helps, it actually gives us the ability to be in a self-directed mode. And that is what I am here for. I am here to share all those tips so that the real learning begins with you right there, right now, as we are going in this session. I want all of you to take that driving seat, get hold of it, and give yourself the opportunity to learn in a self-directed mode. That is what my major point today is, that we all have to learn in a self-directed way. And when we talk about, you know, how do we learn? Now, when we learn, struggle is the best teacher. I'm sure all of you would agree to me. And if you do, please send me agreed kind of a chat, in the chat box, so that I can understand that you all are at the same level with me. We normally learn because we are too uncomfortable. And that is where the struggle is. I technically say that, I learned that in a knowledge oriented world, it is entirely possible to grow and thrive if only I am willing to take risks. I'm willing to learn constantly, and put that uh, put that mode of learning to the good use of others. A lot of times I have seen people in my life who just want to amalgamate a lot of knowledge, who just want to learn, and when you ask them about anything, that they do not wish to share it with you. Trust me, people, my dear panelists, I believe that only when you start sharing your things with others, then only that is the complete learning process. So it is the struggle that it makes us learn, it makes us thrive in a situation. I always tell my students that don't rely on certifications or degrees. They are not going to give you a sustainable growth. You have to be thriving to learn. Just don't think that you've done a Coursera course or an EDX course or something on any online website and yes, you become a learner. No, try to find solutions to your problems all by yourself. Try, what if you do a certification and you think your problem is solved? No, it does not. Rather, pick up a problem, find the solution, and see what course is relevant enough to be applied in that solution. That is what is going on these days, the flipped model learning, where as teachers we first give you the solutions. We tell you, okay, these are the possibilities that can be done. What do you think could be the problem here? And that is where you come with the problem, and that is where you tell us, okay, these things could have been solved with these alternatives. So you have to have that demonstratable experience in you while you are learning, while you are risking, while you're working in any organization, while you're teaching, while you're in your family. You have to have that kind of a mindset where you have to have that demonstratable thing experience in your mind. You need to be willing to take, risk, and find answers constantly. So, okay, I have something to make you learn also before I, start my, self-directed learning. So I would like to share something with you today. Just a second. Okay, here I go. So all of you, quickly on your phone, go to menti.com, MENTI, and enter this code 322496. Enter this code 322496. And there is a question on the screen which says, what is the difference between learning and failure? It will ask you to generate answers, and as you do the answers, I will be able to see them on my screen. Yes, I see one person registered. Very good. Wonderful. This is what we are learning. This is virtual learning. While you answer there in Morocco, I shall be able to see. Oh, lovely. Beautiful. Okay. This is the learning art that I wanted to share with you, that how we can learn. So it's just not that you are answering me. You can see everybody who's answering there on the screen, and you can see how many people are responding and how this word cloud is changing. The more a word is highlighted or is bigger in size, that means it has been pointed out by many people. Okay, lovely. We have 48, 49, 50. I would love to each one of you to participate here. Lovely. Good, good, good. Keep going. Okay. 65 people have already answered. Lovely. Okay, 76. Let's touch 100 very soon, everyone. Okay, lovely, lovely, everyone. I see this word cloud increasing. And there, if I start reading, I mean, you've given amazing answers, and I believe all of you would be able to, read it also. Knowledge, mindset, consistency, failure is a part, determination, learning, perseverance, Success, progress, we learn by failures. Failure is temporary. Okay, consistency, resilience, lovely. That's an amazing answer. Um, okay, failure is a key to success. Learning is good. Action, steps, wonderful. I think if you were to write an answer out here, you would be able to do that right away. If somebody asks you what is the difference between learning and failure, okay, lovely. Okay, another one for a little bit of brainstorming. How can you create your future? The code is same, and similar way you have to quickly register and input your answer. Skills by learning, patience, hard work, wonderful, creativity. Okay, constantly improving, inspiring a vision. Okay, action, dream big, wonderful. That's one of the things that I also believe in. Knowing the past, self-development, discipline, consistency, problem solving. Okay, so you have already seen that there is one tool that can help you learn right there on the screen, and you just need to be virtually connected, and you would come to know that how you can interact and learn. This is one of the learning strategies that we are employing these days by using this mentimeter.com. So you can create your own slide, you can add questions, and you can send it out to people who can share and input their answers just like this. So this is a one modern strategy that is helping us people, helping organizations, helping educators, helping students to give any kind of feedbacks, assessment. Even if you are a CEO of your company and you would want anonymous answers to be given by your employees, you can employ this technique and just see how awesome is this, that while you are not just viewing one answer, rather it is not just the CEO who's seeing the answers. The all employees or all people who are participating in this activity are basically learning. So if I ask you, how can you create your future? Maybe you had one answer or two answers or three options in your mind by saying planning, hard work, and learning. But suddenly you see a word cloud on your screen, which is constantly changing. And what are you reading? Oh, there are other ways also. So you have discipline, you have innovation, you have ambition, you have vision, experience, smart work, passion, creativity, knowledge, mindset, persistence, trust, action, goals, courage, focus, failure, work, madness, strategies, and goals. There you go. You are doing so many things and not just doing. You are constantly learning. So even for me, how can I create my future? I have so much of me to learn right away on the screen. This is one modern learning technique that organizations are employing these days to help people understand, rather to make, to help them understand that how people are thinking. What do they want in life? So it is one of the techniques that I have employed to take your answers and your opinions right there on the screen, even if we are miles and miles apart from each other. Learning by doing, wonderful. Yes, it's called a word cloud, and this can be made on mentimeter.com. I'll just share the website so that you are also able to It's free of cost up to a certain level, and you will be able to frame your questions. You can frame your MCQs, you can frame a word cloud, and right there on your screen, since you all are working from home, operating from home, that's where you can connect with anyone and everyone around here and do amazing learning stuff. Okay, so these were two questions which I shared with you to begin with my session. Okay. Oh, people are still pointing answers. Just we can just wait for 1 or 2 seconds so that we have. Okay, let's touch 100. Okay, 93 people. Let me touch 100 people and then I'll close this slide. Quickly, put in your answers, everyone. Let's make it 100. Quickly. Let's change this number on the screen from 93 to 100 in another 1 second. If any one of you has still, you've been left out, just go to menti.com. Not Mentimeter, just go to menti.com and use the code 322496 and just input your answer. Okay, 94. Quickly, 6 more. Come on, let's learn collaboratively. It's an amazing thing. 96. Voila, good. 97. And at 100, I'll switch off my screen. And I'll share the screenshot with you with the more team and skills team so that they can share that, what their people have learned. Okay, 98. And we go more. 2 more responses, everybody. Let's make it 99. Okay, century. 1 to go for century. And yes, we touched 100, 101. Okay, beautiful. So I think we've made it 100. Yeah, yes, it's a proud moment that 100 people participated in this and we were able to drive a change. Okay, great. So I'll, actually come back to my slide. And I'll just share my screen again. Okay, there you go. Yes. So coming back to my screen, which says self-directed learning, which we are going to witness today, and we witnessed it. And I will be, sharing my inputs on how you can learn constantly when there is so much of data and information, available on the internet and all around us, rather, I would say. Okay. So the first L of learning, like we discussed in the beginning, that we have Q&As and we have discussions and we can have case studies and we can have, n number of, classroom kind of tools that we've been used for learning. But the learning process comes from the labor of love. That is, I would say, that play where your passion is. Let me explain you this. So, a lot of times in our lives, when we as a student, when we are trying to see growth, I would say that growth is a survival ability to learn. All right. We are always constantly wanting growth in our lives. And sometimes we are just, having average grades, but we really struggle to find careers. But we are passionate about learning. We are passionate about doing good things. So what does make us not achieve a great heights? So where I started my talk saying that learning is uncomfortable. We only learn when we get uncomfortable. We only learn when we are struggling. So in this knowledge creative world, we have to take risks. We have to learn constantly. We have to put it to use. And right now, when there was a question that was asked to me, I was just reading while you were, sharing a word cloud, that what how can we stay focused and have high capacity to process a big mass of data and information. At our times when we studied dev, we never had any access to much of Google, since we had limitations. And now if anybody wants to learn, there is no stoppage. You can listen to podcasts, you can listen to webinars, you can learn anything that is available, even if it was not there. You can switch on your channels, you can learn history of the mankind anytime you want. I mean, there is a complete structure of things available on internet. There is so much of information. You just type a word and you get information. So I think learning has to come out of passion. You have to have that labor of love in learning. Second thing, always learn what you're passionate about. This is my keyword. Just do not learn things for the heck of it. Just do not learn, okay, my boss has said me to do it. Do not do it. Ask him that, give you those kind of responsibilities which you love doing. Then only you will be constantly putting your best of the efforts. And that is what the real growth is all about. If I always wanted to be an orator, I always wanted to be a speaker, I have actually worked hard for it. There was a time when I could not even speak in front of 10 people, because I always thought that, oh, they are going to mock at me. No, that was my apprehension. My mother, my father, they all helped me that, okay, pick up things that lead to oratory, pick up platforms that lead to debates, pick up things. And I have stuttered, I've stammered, I have done everything on my stage that has led to nervousness, that has led to anxiety, done everything. But slowly and steadily I realized this, that to overcome this I have to work on myself. I started watching videos. I started seeing people how they speak constantly without doing ooh, all those sounds, without fumbling, and even having those confident expressions on your face. I worked for it. Why? Because I was passionate enough to become a orator. I learned every technique that could help me lead a perfect oratory skill. I worked day and night in reading things. I saw people, I copied them, I enacted their tricks that that shared with me, because I was passionate enough to become speaker. So the first L, in modern day, when we have plethora of information available on the internet, the first thing is find your passion. Find what you're good at. Find what will make you succeed. Find what will help you monetize. Find what will make your life better. Find that. Then only you will be able to laboriously do your work and get the best of your efforts done. I hope you all agree with my first L of learning in the modern world, that is labor of love. Moving on to the next one. So yes, giving you a brief description to what I said, that you should always be in that flow state to learn, to do what you wanted to do, and to lose your sense of time and space. Yes, what is it that you would do even if no one paid you for it? First thing that puts you agree. What are your inherent skills? Now, for example, speaking is my inherent skill. In the similar way, you have to find out what is your inherent skill. What are you mad about? What are you passionate about? What puts you in a flow state? Like, for example, when I got in touch with Hanane and Moo team, I was excited because I was doing something which I always wanted to, which I have been doing all these years. It gives me in a flow state, even if I have to work, 24 hours in making this presentation, I would have done that. I did not take stress about it, that, oh my God, this is something that I hate doing. So you have to get that thing, that what is your flow state? What puts you in, what puts you in your flow state? Second, and the last one, what change do you want to see around or within you? Now, for me, if you ask this question, I would like to change the people see the present generation. I would like to make the present generation much more intellectual and not just hooked up in front of screens and playing games on iPads, because present generation has no, even if they have access to information, trust me, that that small thing of using that information is completely missing. Because when you have so much things on your platter, you do not know from where to start from. So I would like to see that change of execution around me. Tell people how to start a thing, how to execute a thing, how to end a thing. And when you talk about me, what change would I want to see in myself? I want to learn endlessly. I want to dive with something that I would want to read all books, absorb all the information on internet, publish my own books, publish my journals, share my knowledge with everybody. So that is what I love doing. Again, labor of love. So, the Japanese say that, mind can be a mountain or a valley. And however tall a mountain is, or however torrential the rain on it is, it cannot hold water. To hold water, you need to make your mind a valley. I think you must have been able to resonate with what I'm trying to say here. That a mountain can be as strong, but to hold water, it has to become a valley. So we all need to become that valley of information for everyone around us. We have to get in that, lifelong learning mode. We have to understand that, to become powerful, we need to have that mindset of learning, of unlearning, not just learning, but even unlearning. Lot of times that confidence, that that ego state reaches, that okay, I know everything, I am the best in this world. No, that is not the correct state. At one time, to absorb things, you have to unlearn few points, and that is where your mind will become a beautiful valley of information. Okay, so the second L that I'm going to talk about learning today is, we learn best when we learn with others. So cheers to this point. That is what we are doing right now. We learn best when we learn with others. And for that, we need to have 4 points. First, an open, curious mind. We always need to be once we are passionate about learning, once we know that okay, what is to be done and how is it to be done, we always should have those 5 W's: why, when, what, where, and how. We all need to have these W's and H activated inside us. We need to have an open, curious mind always. You should always be in that child mode who's always asking questions to his mother. Mom, how was this done? Mom, how is that done? Why don't you do this? That scientific thinking process should always be active with us, whether we are 5-year old or we are 50-year old. We all need to have open, curious mind. Second, we all should be able to create new knowledge. Now, right now, when I was making my presentation on learning strategy, so even if as a professor of communications I knew everything, that what all you all could learn, and what all I could teach you, and probably what all things are being going on, even then I read about 27 editorials. I read about 4 to 5 articles on Harvard Business Review, and I saw what all things are going on. I created new knowledge not for just myself, but even for my attendees, because again, that is where the curious mind roped in. That is what my inherent skill was, that I wanted to speak the best. I wanted to deliver myself in the best way. I that actually made me in my enter my flow state, and I wanted to make everybody learn about this, what I have learned from internet, which maybe you have access to, or you do not have access to. So always be in that state to create new knowledge. Absolutely. Smart work and not hard work. But I would like to point out here, sometimes hard work is more like consistent efforts. We say that, okay, I'm hardworking, but a lot of times we aren't, because we are not in a mood to to rope in or to pitch in consistent efforts. So smart work is technically for me putting your efforts consistently daily in a much more smarter way. So as a person, I always employ myself in that smart work stage where I'm working consistently. So hard work is nothing but putting your efforts, putting your passion consistently daily, and determined to work or to rope in the best of you. Third, collaborate and network. Now, when I talk about collaborate and network, that actually means that we have to learn, and we have to collaborate our ourselves with people. We have to understand what collaboration means, and we have to network with people. When I talk about networking, now, network means that uh, you meet people, you share knowledge with them, you understand them, and of course, you leverage out of their experience. So, always be in a position to collaborate and network with people. I'm sure all of you must have got this opportunity to network with people amidst this lockdown, and you would have got amazing, screenshots with you, amazing write-ups with you. Like I'm in a habit, whenever I go somewhere, I take screenshots of things that I've learned from that webinar. I take pictures with people whom I've met. I try to share testimonials with them over LinkedIn so that we share a common connect, and people remember. I mean, we remember each other, and we are always in that state that we connect over and on with each other. So always collaborate and network. And last but not the least, execute and experiment. A lot of times, if I talk about myself, like I shared my example, that I wanted to be a great orator. How did I do that? I executed it. So even if I was stammering, even if I was stuttering, even if I was fumbling on the stage, I aggressively did that over and over and over again. I experimented with my confidence. I executed whatever tricks I learned on videos or through podcasts or by enacting people. I executed it. So, whatever you learn, whatever you are passionate about, please always have curious mind, create new knowledge, collaborate and network, and execute and experiment always. Yes, the first time is always the hard time, but if you're passionate enough, the first time becomes the easiest. Trust me. That's what my experience says. And the last, the the third L that I would like to share is leverage. So, when I talk about leverage here, what do you read? Happens when you find a way to create a positive impact for yourself and for others. Anyone can share their thought what they mean by leverage here by via chat box. I would love to see what people say. Okay, leading. Excellent. Okay, I have a lot of questions pouring in, and I'm sure that, okay, lovely. Great. Impact, initiative, sharing and caring, leading with a positive attitude. Lovely. Yes. Leverage is all about, when you find yourself in a way to create positive impact for yourself and others. And, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm exactly in a state where I'm trying to create a positive impact for everybody around me. I am applying my learning in a significant service of others, and that's what I'm doing right now. And this is my third L of learning, that is leveraging, which is very, very, very important. You have to be in that state And see, when I talk about leverage in a more clearer way, I would say that that learning is a social act. I am sure you all agree. And it cannot be done in isolation. Learning cannot be done in isolation. So we like I always say about two things, that we have acquired capability and we have demonstrated experiences. So we have to collaborate both of them and have an intersection point where it can actually become useful for others. So act of sharing your learnings, your work becomes an art of wisdom when you apply your knowledge to it. So whatever in this whole scenario, if you talk about the L's, I think the only thing that would ever miss inside you is the intent of learning. So always keep that keep that intent of learning always high. Otherwise all these things, your passion, your efforts would go vain if you do not have that uh, that intent to learn, and not share with others, and do not become that smart person who's always trying to create positive impact over each other. So that was my three L's, which I believe are modern techniques of learning. So there's another thing that I would share here is, do you want to have a lockdown learning, or you want to have a lifelong learning? That's my next question to you. Since we are right now in this lockdown learning phase, so is it just because that we are stuck inside our houses and that is what is giving us an opportunity to learn? No. When I would say in terms of lockdown learning, when I say when social media is all there with so many stories of people learning new things to make the most of their time in isolation and distancing, which is actually great. And I see so many things on LinkedIn. So I should say that this pandemic has to impact everyone differently, but it should impact each one of us positively. So since I, as a person, I cannot expect everyone to be able to make most of their lockdowns. But if you are resourceful, if you maintain social distancing, and if you are staying with your family, just give a little more space to your learning endeavors that help you to connect with yourself, that help you to pay attention to everything that we care about, ask questions and feed your explorations and always learn. So I feel that, as you see that there are four ways to learn that I have shared, and that's actually a sketch note by Mr. Tanmay Vora. He's one of my mentors. So he says that, challenging experiences are one way to learn under when you are stuck somewhere. Opportunities to practice, because practice feeds high performance. And I'm sure you all agree to that. Third, creative conversations. That's what we are having right now, because conversation is the lubrication of learning and development. And the fourth one, time for reflection. My quote, my belief is that experience plus reflection gives you learning that lasts. And I'm sure you all would agree with me, that when you say that flow state, and when you have to work constantly, passionately on something that you are crazy about, so experiences is what you're going through, and reflections is what you learn from it, that how could you do it in a better way, or in a more nice, in a more polished way, is exactly the learning that lasts. So get these four ways of learning inside you, have challenging experiences, have immense opportunities to practice. And I would also like to share here, that cultivate deeper self awareness. That is very, very important. Lot of times our organizations tell us to do SWOT analysis. I think I tell my students also the same, that before you enter the market, or you before you enter some job sector, do your SWOT analysis. You always should be aware of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what opportunities can you provide to your prospective recruiter, and what can be your probable threats. So always cultivate deeper self awareness. and always pick up areas that you wish to explore in that particular topic that you are crazy about. uh, Try to learn specific skills using online resources, not just every skill. That answers one of the questions that was asked to me. Always learn specific targeted skills which improve you, not just for the heck of it, that you want to look good on LinkedIn. No, it does not. Again, I would come back to my point: have demonstrable experiences, have that capability which is acquired, not copied. And yes, when you pick new skills, master them, not just listen to them. So when you've done a particular course which you are confident about, so whatever you've learned through it, try to experiment it, try to execute it in your real life, because that is what I mean. Your deliberate and your consistent practice over long period will help you get out of your typical routine work, and also make this learning not just something that you're doing out of stress, but make this like an event where we have to elevate, and every milestone that we pass about, we should be able to get on the upper level. So that is what I would say. There are four ways to learn. So as you see, I would like to share here how our brain works. So I think a lot of you now would have been your brain working, what can be done and what cannot be done. So I think you would agree with my first point that we take in information better when it is visual. And I think that's what I'm doing right now, that I am sharing just visuals deliberations with you, which will help you absorb my information more easily. I did not share any write up with you. I just shared visuals with you because they impact our memory better. Second, we always remember the bigger picture. That is why I've shared pointers with you. That's how our brain is learning. We, even when we are sleeping, we are in our we are in a state where we are constantly learning and memorizing. And we should always have good sleep, which actually reduces your ability to learn. And we learn the best while teaching others, and that's what I'm doing right now. I mean, while I'm teaching, I am having a lot of introspections in my own mind. I get a lot of stories right there, that okay, I can share this also, and I can share that also, and I can have this information also. So I always recommend that whenever you learn something or whenever you read something, write a blog out of it, write an article out of it, and share it with your world. That is where the exact learning process will start. Let me just change my screen. So what kind of habits you need to have in case you want to employ this lifelong learning? And there is another visual for you. So when I talk about lifelong learning, so significant amount of learning happens only through consumption of insights. That's what you're doing right now. It happens when we act on what we learn, we go through the experience, we take risks, we develop insights through the lens of that experience. Just like organizations, they build up right models for creating learning organizations. Similarly, individuals have to create right mental habits that enable them lifelong learning. And by the end of the session, I would actually be sharing with you a couple of my 5 to 6 lessons that I have learned in my life, where I would be emphasizing on risk taking, developing commitment, being a part of learning community, stepping out of your comfort zone, learning from failures, reading, listening, seeking feedback from others on whatever we do. So I believe that by now you should have thought of one mental habit that will help you achieve a good learning experience by, all through your life. You have to take risks, you have to have self reflection, you should always be open to new ideas, which I say, that you should always be having, curious minds. So because we live in a world, which there are infinite possibilities, and sometimes it is actually tough to amass so much of information. So always find your forte area, find your learning style, do your SWOT analysis, absorb, collect information. When you collect them, share it with others through blogs, through articles, through visuals, through sketch notes, seek feedback, learn again. And yes, last but not the least, careful listening. So, if you would have heard me today properly, and if you would have understood every word that I shared with you are out of my own experiences, out of my college experiences, my personal life, I'm sure that I would have been able to instill one good habit in your learning process. Okay, so these are my lifelong learning sessions that I have been able to pen down for you, so that you are also able to write lifelong learning sessions lessons. And this is actually a task which I will be giving to you like a teacher, that while you connect with me on LinkedIn, and while you share about this workshop on LinkedIn, please do that. But please share one learning that you've been able to do from my workshop. I would be happy to read your lifelong learning lessons from my workshop also. And it would actually be one amazing learning process that what my attendees have heard. So if I talk about my learning, I believe that our work plays important role in our learning. This is what I believe in. Because if you spend 40 hours a week doing the same things over and over again, you've got a reason to be concerned, because you're absolutely not learning. And this is where I believe in that, I have been juggling and multitasking and doing so many projects, so many workshops, so many seminars every day. That is where I feel that, okay, I have reached a point where now it is a point to give back to the society. Second, learning is not one time event. Trust me, people, it is not, but it is a lifelong process. It has to be continuous and self directed. Third, if you do not read, you have no advantage over those who cannot read. Technically, you're blind to the information. So every great leader you've met, or even I have met rather in my life, has been a great reader. So read continuously, because reading feeds your curiosity. Fourth, you don't learn swimming by reading a book. That was a joke. But after you read, you contemplate, you stir your own thinking, you apply lessons in your context and put them in practice. This is what I have been telling you, that whatever you learn, whatever things you learn as a skill, as a certification, as a workshop, as a seminar, as your classroom teaching, what boss is teaching you, try to have, whenever you get out of that room, write down three lessons that you've learned from that particular lecture, and then create an article out of it and share it with people. And trust me, you would never be able to forget what you've written on any social media platform where you would share a lot of acknowledgments and appreciation. People want to hear them, people who have similar wavelength or similar bandwidth. So listening, reading is one aspect for it. Fifth, seeking feedback on your work is a great way to learn. So is paying attention to criticism. So just do not think that always people would be paying acknowledgement or would be appreciating for your constant efforts. The time you get criticism is the point where you or somebody would tell you that, okay, you are losing your focus. You have been doing great work, but what you've written right now is something that you're not maybe not doing in the right path. So be open to criticism. And last but not the least, my lifelong learning has been that learning requires commitment and discipline. To read that book, to read a few blogs, to stop watching TV, to dedicate some time in the day to active learning. This is very, very important. These are few of the lessons that I have learned and applied, and I'm sharing with you live through this workshop. And I believe that, I have been able to instill something or the other to all of you. And there we have something. Okay. Now I have a few questions, which again you would be doing in a very, very exciting way, just like we did Mentimeter. The few questions are, what have you learned today? Not, I would say, lately. So, what have you learned today, and how this will, my workshop will help you contribute in your daily life? So, what I'll do is, I'll share a link with you. Just a second. Okay, there you go, to all panelists. Okay, I've shared a link in the chat box. Okay, there you go. You would be able to see. Now, my question is, what have you learned from this workshop, and how my workshop is going to help you in your maybe tomorrow? So click on this link. A similar page that you see on the screen will open up. On right hand side corner down, you will see a plus sign like this. The moment you click on this kind of window will appear. Write your name and your answer there and then. I'm waiting for the responses. I hope everybody is able to access this. Oh, lovely. There you see on your screen. This is going to be my feedback session, which you are going to do live with me. I'll tell you how do we create that also. So please share your name in the title section, and beneath that, when you click, you will be able to write what you've learned today and how you think to apply this in your near future. That's my question. Oh, amazing. I'm going to share this link with you, the Mood team and Skills for Skills team, so that you can actually keep it as your record, how people learned today. Oh, 25. I need to have all 130 plus people who've joined. Outstanding. Oh, lovely. See, this is another tool where I'm getting all the answers live on the screen. This is another technique of learning. I framed a question. I shared a link with you. The link is padlet.com. You can create your own information wall right there in front of you. And just see how amazing my wall looks right now, with so many people sharing their learnings today. This is called Padlet. I'm sure you all would be loving this the way it is going. Okay. See, it looks so great. It is increasing and increasing. Everybody get on the screen. You will be, this is also one learning process where you will be able to learn that how you are responding to my question virtually. One thing was a virtual cloud, word cloud that you did, one word answers, and see, right there, it is becoming a wall of answers just in a fraction of second. This is one interesting way of learning. Frame a question, put it in your community through a link, and you get a wall of answers there. I'm scrolling it up and down so that you all can share. I mean, you all can read what each one of you have written. This is called collaborative learning. Outstanding. I'm so happy that I've been able. Okay, keep going. All right, my answers, my wall is loaded with feedbacks. Okay, and it is still coming up as people are still writing. Okay, till then, please, everybody, do complete your answers here. I will be picking up certain questions that have been asked in the question section. Okay, so I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, we got more 13 questions until now. Thank you everyone for your attention during the class. It was amazing. We can start with the questions.
Okay, so
Uh,
I'll take the questions. Okay, yes,
yeah,
Sanane?
yeah. The first one is, does VUCA mean to be used to predict solutions for eventualities?
Okay, so I would say that VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, is not meant to, predict solutions, but it is meant to help us prepare with unpredictability. So, VUCA never predicted pandemic, but the way pandemic has been, it has actually helped us understand that in case similar things happen in future, how do we deal with that? So VUCA does not help you predict problems, but it actually helps you to build solutions. That is my intake. Next question.
Um, what I observed is that really the questions changed from the beginning of the class to the end. So we are, I'm switching between the first ones and the last ones. We
Okay.
got one. How do we remember what we learned? And I think that you already mentioned it.
Okay. How we can remember what we learned. And the best way is the way I shared with you, word cloud, techniques like Padlet
Yeah.
wall. The most easy way, that I have been applying in my, I maintain a notebook. So, in case I was attending this workshop, I would have penned down all the important points and, made notes out of it, which is very, very important for any person to continue that learning process. And then I would have introspected, and then I would have shared a blog on my LinkedIn, thanking the, concerned person, and also, sharing my learning. And that is what is a way to keep your learning ongoing and also, remember what you've learned. Okay, next question.
Exactly. The next question from Abdulaziz, and it's around how we can keep our concentration to process the different big mass of data and information.
Um, can you just repeat again?
Yeah,
I'm
how
not
can we
able.
stay? It's how can we stay focused and and have high capacity to process a big mass of data or information?
Okay, how can we stay focused? So I think my slide today was it kind of answered this because I picked up this question in the beginning also. That when you
Yes.
have high capacity of questions, sorry, high capacity of information, you have to keep yourself in that flow state, and you have to understand and find out what is your passion and your labor of love, what is your inherent skill. And I'm sure that once you realize that, you would be able to focus more clearly on what you need to learn.
All right, thank you. The next question is common between us from Sukaina. She said, what to do if I have multiple interests and cannot find what put me in a flow state?
What to do? Okay,
If I
if you
have,
have
yeah,
multiple interests and you cannot
yes,
find what puts me in a flow state.
what she wants, yeah,
Okay. Now, thank you for this question, Sukina. I think if you have multiple interests, but still there would be one interest that would outweigh the others too. Now, for example, my interest is research, my interest is public speaking, and my interest is, building up communities. But there would be, out of these three interests, there is one thing that is always close to my heart, and that is public speaking. So try to outweigh what makes you more happy. That's something that's worked for me. Try to outweigh, does research give you the immense happiness? I'm just talking about me. Or did public speaking give, or did writing gave me? No, I think public speaking gave me that powerful, that happiness, or that intent, or that content from, from inside. So I think even if you have multiple interests, again, you have to seek which are you most crazy about.
exactly. We have another question from Abdulaziz, and he says, since the future is brighter than ever and learning is changing to modern ways, like remote working now, how can we do adapt our old ways of learning and improve them to new and more relevant ways?
Okay, since the future is brighter than ever and learning is changing to modern days, how can we adapt our old ways of learning and improving them to new and more relevant ways? Well, on this note, I think you have to blend the old ways and new ways together. For example, our parents never had an idea of using a smartphone or even using Google search for anything. So basically, I think how they've learned is that they have adopted by seeing us. They have adopted by learning from us. So in that case also, when you're remotely working, I know certain tools are they are extremely important for survival. So try to look out for people who can teach you and help you blend well with the changing world and this dynamic need for apps and websites, and using Zoom or WebEx or webinar. I think you cannot be just stuck with your old ways of learning, since there is so much more to learn in this out world. And trust me, it would not just give you more access to information, but it also would make you a more confident individual. So yes, try to seek out help from people who can help you in updating your knowledge, and yes, blend them well with your old ways of learning. All right,
Uh,
next question.
the next question is, they want to know what's your favorite book, maybe a reference book, because we got that question in the chat box. Do you have
Okay.
any reference book?
My favorite book is by Stephen R. Covey, which something I've read more than 10 to 12 times, which is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. That is one of my favorite books that I always refer to anyone or everyone whom I meet for the first time. So I even refer you Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, which is by Stephen R. Covey. You can get it anywhere and on Amazon or anywhere that you want to order to.
Amazing. You will send me the exact name and then I can share it with everyone.
I'll
Also,
share that. Okay.
yes, we have another question from Mohammed Bakali. He is before the last question. In the beginning of the workshop, we saw that learning begins with detecting a need, struggling, and facing a problem. Then go and look for the relevance course, but it's not possible always in reality because we don't have enough time to learn and return to solve the problem. How to deal with this?
Okay, in the beginning of the workshop, we saw that learning begins with detecting a need, struggling, and facing a problem. Then go and look for the relevant course. But it's not possible always in reality because we do not have enough time to learn and return to solve that problem. Thank you for the question, Mohammed. I think your question is very relevant in the present stage. But you know what I would suggest you to this is that I know a lot of times our circumstances are different, and actually sometimes it is not possible in reality to always learn. But you know what, when you are actually thinking or when you're introspecting to solve any particular thing, I do not find that state when our mind is not working. So you know, even when I was reading this question of yours and I was trying to absorb that what you're trying to ask me, I was thinking, I was trying to go back to all my experiences which I could share with you. So this is also a learning and unlearning process. So yes, technically you don't always have to read books or podcasts or articles to solve a particular problem. I think people around us, our own experiences, if we give them 5 minutes of introspection, that they can actually help us solve any problem that we want. I think our mind is the biggest thing that we need to take a control of rather than any problem around us. That's my intake.
Exactly. We have another question. Mm, Maybe it's a personal one. How to improve public speaking? Like, like
Okay,
because
well, I'll be
yeah,
sharing my email with you, and there I think we can connect offline where I can share my daily insights since I email them to a lot of people, and I believe that I actually share my knowledge, and maybe we can get more. And I would say, okay, if you've heard my story, I have done a lot of effort on myself. So yes, keep reading, keep exploring, keep copying people what they do, and keep practicing it. That's more important.
um,
Okay, anything else?
we have some questions that really mention the same thing. So I'm trying to to get a more. mm,
Okay, I am also trying to read
yeah.
questions. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, a good one. This one, a good one from Abdulaziz. He says, "How can we evaluate our levels of active learning? How
How
can we evaluate our levels of
our
active
levels of
learning?"
active learning?
Yes.
I think again coming back to the same thing, a lot of times I would okay share this. Self introspection doesn't work. So you actually have to ask people, okay, that what are you good at? What am I good at? What am I bad at? So that evaluation will help you validate your particular points. So when I was in my school or my adolescent age, or even when I was doing my masters, I never I you would not believe, I'll share a story with you. I did my masters in economics, whereas now I think that I should have done my masters in English, which is actually very hilarious. So that time I never asked anybody, what am I good at, what should I do in my masters program, because somehow I was academically bright and I scored well in economics. So my mother, she's told me that, okay, pick up masters in economics, you would top your university. Indeed, I topped my university. But now over the years, when I have been working and I have been doing in my job, I don't feel the need of doing that economics anywhere. I have never seen I have been applying economics anywhere, even though I was a university topper, because that time I did not ask anybody that what exactly I'm good at. So I think it's better that earlier or sooner you ask somebody around you to tell what are you good at, and that is what will help you evaluate what are you going to learn in your future life. That's my my input for that.
Amazing to get all your wisdom, Ritika. Thank you so much. I think we're done with the questions. If any other questions are remaining, I can send it to you and answer them and then post them on our group. Now you can
Okay.
continue with your little
Okay, so
ending word.
we
Yeah,
have almost 70 responses on this screen where people have shared their learnings for today. I'll share that link with you, Hanane. And I will also share, just a second.
mothership.
Okay, yes. So I am sharing my, there we go. If you want to connect with me, and I would love to get testimonials or share, get your feedbacks on this. So you can connect with me on linkedin.com. I am by the name Ritika Madan. And in case any of you have questions, or you want to connect with me in future for any kind of one-to-one mentoring session, or any kind of things that you think that I am capable of answering, or any kind of workshops, my email is ritikamadan01@gmail.com. So I'm always available, and I'm extremely active on LinkedIn and on replying emails. So you can connect with with me anytime you want. And thank you so much, Hanane, and Skills for Skills and More team, for inviting me and allowing me to have such an interactive session with you. I think I had an amazing time. The audience was spectacular, very interactive, uh, very much responsive. I didn't have much. I couldn't think that the audience could be much more reciprocative than this. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, everyone. I would like to hear about my workshop on LinkedIn, and would love to have my